Alright, let's get into it. I'm back with this, and first things first, I am not a political person, or I don't really share my ideals too much because everyone's entitled to their own opinion. They've got the right to their own opinion. They can think what they want, and every opinion is valid to have. Um, Whether or not you agree with them, that's a whole other story, but that's the thing. And I don't really care about politics too much. I don't keep up with them. Um, but this is the fucking internet, right? And I'm gonna speak my damn mind. um, and this is coming from someone who works as a mechanic, and I'm not a dumb individual. I've got 2 degrees. My degree is in marine biology, actually. I can tell you a lot about fish. I can tell you a lot about cancer causing agents in fish. I can tell you a lot about the Sargassum Sea. My um, doctorate thesis before I had to sadly leave school was recreating the structure of squid beaks in the multi-thousand layer density gradient for prosthetic limbs. I'm not a dumb individual, but I do not understand politics in any way, shape, or form. That is not me. That's not my thing. That's not what I do. And then I'm also a mechanic and I work on cars. Getting a job in marine biology is tough. Um, but the cars are simple. The strength and certainty of steel. Ever since I understood the weakness of my flesh, it disgusted me. Yeah, I like Warhammer 2, baby. But anyways, I'm gonna talk about like the history problem no one wants to discuss. And well, it's just a fancy title for fucking YouTube thumbnails. I'm sure a lot of people would like to discuss this actually. Um, but I think I have a pretty decent take on it. And and the main thing is when you everyone says that violence is never the answer. It's never ever the answer. It's not the right answer. Violence is the last thing you want and should be avoided at all costs. And I agree, violence is not the answer. But the threat of it or the use of it always leads to the answer of civil discussion and agreements and stuff like that. Fucking, and just pick up a history book. Every major conflict has been settled. Well, not every major conflict. Every major disagreement or issue has been settled through violence specifically. Um, my history teacher back in college, he's I don't know his credentials, so you'll just have to take me and him at his word for it, but he said the very first war humanity ever fought was over a cornfield about the size of like an average classroom or something. And it's thousands and thousands of years ago, and I would believe him because at the end of the day, your base needs are food, shelter, and water. Well, if one group's hoarding all the food, you're gonna get pretty fucking violent to get that food. But anyways, the threat or use of violence is what leads to civil discussion and whatnot. And this slide should have actually gone way later, but it's the first one I thought of and like the crux of this argument. And it's basically when maintaining the status quo becomes more costly than changing is when change actually happens. It doesn't matter how loud you are or how desperate you are or anything like that. If the people in power above you decide that it is more cost effective to say, oh, fuck you, then it's more cost effective to say fuck you, and that's what they're gonna do. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Don't try and cry out to their heart, because at the end of the day, they don't care about that. It is business, and what can you offer me, and what can I offer you, and that's the simple crux of it. That is the way the world works. Is business. Of course, people are emotional and have feelings and whatnot, and you can appeal to that, and it can work, But when you're dealing like in today's society, that's not the case. That doesn't work. Um, I don't know why I wrote this twice, dude. I was in a haze when I wrote this. Holy shit. I'm tired. And I'll come back to the Strait of Hormuz actually. Yeah, this should have been later. Um, but yeah, the warehouse thing. Apparently, since that first viral video of some dude burning down a warehouse because he was mad they didn't pay him well enough, when that went viral, apparently a whole bunch of other warehouses started burning down. And that's like one act is a tragedy, more than one is a recognizable pattern, and that's when change would happen if it affects the bottom dollar. Um, so like that first one, that insurance, I mean that warehouse absolutely and everything in it absolutely covered by insurance. The company that he was mad at didn't pay a single penny for that action. And it sucks, and his actions caused a whole bunch of other workers to lose their jobs, and it was terrible. But, when that company rebuilds that warehouse from the insurance money they have, if someone burns it down again, oh, what the hell? Oh, well, you must have been an asshole company, right? That someone did it again. Crazy coincidence that someone did it again. Rebuild it again, burn it down again. Fuck, dude. Now insurance is like, hey, this is a pattern. What is wrong with you? You need to figure this shit out because you're taking our money now, and we're not happy that you're taking our money that we're having to pay for your issues. Um, and this is of course fucking over the smaller person too, the working class, the important class. Um, and eventually this company, for the sake of argument, if this happens again, don't condone violence, don't burn down buildings. Please don't do that. Um, that company has to ultimately make the decision, is it more profitable to keep redoing this and losing these however much money every time one burns down, um or move their location and hope it doesn't get burned down again. But if your policies and your payments cause one person to do it multiple times or multiple people to do it in sequence, then chances are location doesn't matter. People are people pretty much wherever you go. Now, every person's going to hold different values, but if I'm treating someone like shit in America and I go to Europe and treat someone like shit in Europe, and both of those people are going to hate me. Like, it's simple. And then the final option is addressing the issue and, let's say, paying them more, and then all of a sudden the warehouses stop. You have to do it financially, though. It's this is an extreme example. Burning down a warehouse is an extreme example. That's why strikes were so effective back in the day, because the company stopped making money until they paid their employees more. Is it more profitable to not have business for so long, or is it more profitable to just suck it up, pay the people more money, and reopen? And like I said in another video, I ran a business for 10 years. I've made the company I worked for, I made them millions and millions and millions of dollars above the operating cost. Like, I hit operating cost, extra $1-2 million every single year. I worked there for 10 years. I worked at multiple stores, so in total, once you hit operating costs, I probably gave this company the equivalent of, like, oh god, let's see here. I had 5 stores. Let's say $1 million each for 10 years, so that's $50 million I made this company because I was good at my damn job. completely derailed my train of thought. I don't remember where I was. But yeah, pay the people more. It's if that is the more cost-effective option, that's what companies will do. So strikes work. Please don't resort to violence and burn down buildings. It's an extreme example, but at the end of the day, if it happens like 10 fucking times to the same company, that will work too. And then the corporate security escalation from the tragic assassination of a healthcare CEO that was performed by Luigi Mangione. It's horrible that that CEO lost his life. But the company, in the long term, decided that it was more cost effective to hire heavy security details to protect their, important individuals than it would be to approve claims and make people happy. And that is just fucking stupid. And please just don't do this. Don't take this seriously. But for the sake of argument, if it were to happen to like 20, 30 more fucking healthcare CEOs, then yeah, they'd probably get real scared and go, hey, I'm in fear of my life now, and apparently no amount of security is going to fix that. I have to make the masses happy. And if I don't make the masses happy, then my head's on the chopping block. And if you look back at history, that was France. Like the whole French Revolution and putting however many people in guillotines, they didn't make the masses happy. The masses revolted. And that's, again, don't do that. Don't do that. Please don't do that. But that is the historical outcome. That's, the history problem no one wants to discuss. If you treat the masses like shit because you think you're better than them, the masses will rise up, and either financially or violently, your choice. I guess we can go back to the Strait of Hormuz thing then, and I don't know shit about this. I know my car takes premium gasoline, and gas was $4.50 a gallon recently. So yeah, that fucking sucks. And it has to run on premium. So if it could run on 87, I'd run it on 87, but it can't. So I heard that a deal was recently struck in the Strait of Hormuz, or opening it back up, and let's just go to this real fast.
Blockade. The deal is still under wraps. The U.S. and Iran giving conflicting versions of what's in it. Both agree the U.S. will lift its blockade of Iranian ports, and Iran will reopen the Strait of Hormuz, which it closed when President Trump launched the war. The fate of Iran's nuclear program. The reason the U.S.
I heard that this is why it started, is they were enriching uranium, and America's like, hey, you can't have nuclear, you can't have that because we know you're going to make nuclear weapons, and only certain countries are allowed to have nuclear weapons, because if one person launches them, everyone launches them, then everyone dies. Duh. It's mutually assured destruction. That was the whole thing with the Cold War. Open up a history textbook if you want to understand that. It's, we've got nukes, you've got nukes. If you launch them, we kill each other. That's it. That's the whole conflict of the Cold War. But yeah, that's the whole reason we went to war with them in the first place, is they were enriching uranium to whatever percent. I don't know. I'm a biologist and a mechanic, not a nuclear physicist. I don't fucking know.
U.S. went to war in the first place will be addressed in another 60-day period.
It will be addressed in another 60 days. And I don't know if ABC News is right or left. I don't give a shit. But this was uploaded 15 hours ago, so relatively recent, let's say.
Period of talks. Though the president today claimed to win.
Iran will not have a nuclear weapon. They fully agreed to that with strong.
Okay, they won't have a nuclear weapon. If that's true, great deal.
Policing powers.
Iran already agreed not to possess nuclear weapons as part of its deal with the Obama administration, which President.
Yeah, I'm a huge conspiracy theorist. That's a lie. Obama said you can have nukes, or something like that.
Trump tore up in his first term. Former President Obama speaking with ABC's Robin Romer.
Yeah, I think that's all I wanted to show. Rest, blech, don't care. Where's my presentation? Back here. Okay. Now, the whole, I think they closed the strait because they're like, oh, we control the shipping line. You don't get any fucking money. Financial superiority. Blah. Well, at the end of the day, power is going to overtake money because money can only do one thing, and that's buy power. You can't buy America. So if we really, really wanted to, we could be like, hey, there's no more Iran. It doesn't exist anymore. So I don't know why they're trying to throw their meat around. That's really my main political opinion is America is the superpower of the world. Act like it. Throw your big schmeat on the table and go bow before me because we have the military might to do that. And people are like, oh, what about China? Dude, we could. America's military is so powerful. We could most likely go to war with every country in the world, us versus everyone, and I would put good money on America winning. That's how strong our military is. And I'm not just glazing it because I'm an American. Like, I've seen our spending on it. I've seen some of the weapons we have. When I worked pest control, I got to see people that worked in the military, and I saw things that probably shouldn't have been seen. We've got weapons. It's absurd how quickly people will be like, "Hey, come check this shit out." Uh, wild. Um, but yeah, I don't know why we didn't just fucking throw our meat on the table and be like, "Hey, open this up. You're either not having nuclear weapons and you're opening the strait, or we'll do it for you by destroying you." Because at the end of the day, if you're fucking with America's money, ooh, buddy, again, violence will trump money in the end, and that's basically it. And I'm sure he's just doing it to save face, so he can be like, "Oh, I stopped a war, ooh, wee." But at the end of the day, I don't care. I don't make enough money to have my political opinion matter either. If I was a multimillionaire, then yes, my political opinion would absolutely matter. Because money is what gives weight to things. Um, and I'm not a multimillionaire, so in the grand scheme of thing, I'm just a dude speaking. My political opinion means jack shit. I just have a pattern-seeking brain, which is why I'm a biologist and a mechanic. I seek patterns. But then again, the most important group in the world is the working class. If if every world leader and important person and CEO in the entire planet were to just keel over tomorrow, the world wouldn't stop. The world would keep going. We'd throw another one up there. But if every working class individual, like the mechanics, the electricians, the HVAC people, the plumbers, my god, the plumbers, if all of them were to keel over tomorrow, the world would stop like that. Your importance, people put money as importance too, but at the end of the day, if you're like Elon Musk, where your job, well, that's not the best example because he's so fucking rich, but I'm sure his job now is to just sit there and talk and not actually do anything. He's not in the trenches fucking making calculations for his spaceships. If he were to keel over tomorrow, Tesla and SpaceX would still be around. If everyone who's working on those rockets and those cars were to keel over tomorrow, Tesla and SpaceX would not be around. It's as simple as that. The working class is the most important class in the world. I don't care how much money you have. You could be a multi-quadrillionaire. If your job is to sit there and look pretty, you're worth this much. You're worth nothing. So any young people out there watching this, go learn a trade, go learn a skill. I would say go to college, but I went to college for 4 years. I have degrees. I'm a certified fisheries and wildlife expert. I don't have a job in that field. Um, so go learn a trade skill. Go learn a skill that is actually important for the continuation of society. Go be a doctor. That's a good one. Go be a doctor. Those are super important. Don't be a fucking marketing manager, because if you provide a good service, you don't need to market. The pest control company I worked for, had spent $0 on marketing. Absolutely none. No posts on Facebook, no commercials, no nothing. They spread solely by word of mouth alone from our service. And they were one of the largest growing pest control companies. I don't know if the right word is like per capita or whatever, but like, they're not as big as other companies like Orkin, but when you compare how much they've spent to how much they've grown, for them versus Orkin, they trounced them by like 1,000 times. They trounced them. They grew so much faster and so much better with no marketing, nothing, and they cost less than a place like Orkin. They cost so much less money, and we provided a better service, less money. People talk. People absolutely talk. Um, but like, oh, I heard this yesterday, and I don't know if I put it on my other video, but the Ford CEO saying we don't have many mechanics.
There were 6,000 bays in our dealerships with no technicians. So can't get my car fixed. Nope. 2 weeks. Average wait is 2 weeks. Not because we don't have the parts, we don't have the mechanics. Factory workers, construction workers.
He's listing all of the actually truly important people in society.
Farmers, all the people that move things, truck drivers, rail workers, and people fix things. Plumbers, electricians, HVAC, all the people that basically work with their hands. Why?
The important people. He doesn't have technicians, and he doesn't have them because they're important people, because they're not paying them enough. That's it. First of all, your vehicles are built like shit. Sorry, I'm a Ford hater. They're built like shit. I used to like Chevy. Chevy's built like shit now too. Even Toyota's built like shit now, because it's cheaper to build shit and rely on your brand image than it is to build good quality stuff and pay your technicians good quality wages. But if you're building shit and it's so hard to fix it, you better pay your technicians, the people actually fixing it, a lot of money to fix it. Otherwise, they're gonna be like, no, I'm not doing this garbage.
Why is there a shortage of these workers? Well, it's a complicated problem, but
It's not complicated. You don't pay them enough money. You don't give them enough benefits. You make your cars so fucking hard to work on that no one wants to work on them, especially for the pay they're getting. When I was working at a dealership, I was paid $20 an hour as, a basic lube technician. When I was working at my uncle's shop, I was paid $45 an hour as a regular technician, right? If I were to have stayed at the dealership and become a regular technician, my pay would have gone to $26 an hour. And I was like, well, that's livable for me, technically. But for me to get that, I would have had to leave home for 6 weeks, and I take care of my blind mother. I can't leave home for 6 weeks, so that was over.
But there is, let's put it that way, literally 1 million openings right now. Technicians and dealerships working on cars. At Ford, we have 6,000, probably 400,000 repair technician shortages across the economy. First of all, the productivity has not caught up with the white collar. In fact, it's gone down over the last 20 years. Number two, the jobs aren't as glamorous as a white collar job.
I take issue with that statement. I think hard workers, the blue collar jobs, are more glamorous than white collar jobs. I really do. Because when you're in a bind and you don't know how to, if you break down on the side of the road and you don't know how to fix your car, you have to wait. Even if you have all the money in the world, you have to wait for someone to fix it for you. But if you know how to do it, and you show up, and this has happened to me before I knew how to work on vehicles. One of my the person I trained under, my master mechanic, this is how I met him. He showed up out of nowhere and was like, "Hey buddy, you got a problem?" And I was like, "Yeah, I don't know what happened." Well, he comes over. It was my starter at this point. Takes a hammer, car started up. I was like, "Oh, you're a saint. You're a miracle worker. How did you do that?" And like, I had so much awe at that he just knew something so well that I didn't know. And I was like, "Oh my god, that's the most amazing thing in the world." And I'm sitting here like, I can do advanced differential calculus in my fucking head in seconds. You know? In actual seconds. I was so good at math that someone could throw me a problem and there's the answer. So yeah, I was like, "Dude, you gotta teach me how to work on cars." And he's like, "Oh, do you have any experience?" I was like, "Nope." It's like, "Well, try and get some experience and come back to me." And eventually, my story is I blew up my first car, absolutely blew it up because I didn't even know you needed to change the oil. I ran it bone dry for like 45 minutes on a nice long drive. Because I didn't realize it had an oil leak either because I parked on grass. And I hear this loud fucking coming from it. I'm like, sometimes they just make noises. And it never started again. And my uncle was like, "You're going to come live with me for a year or 2 years, boy, and learn how to work on fucking cars." Because you can't just do that. So yeah.
Job from college?
Anyway, back to my main argument is I have so much awe for blue collar workers and very, very little awe for white collar workers because I know that white collar is you sit in an office and your job is marketing manager or your job is to look at numbers and go, "Huh, that's not important." At the end of the day, I don't care what your numbers look like. If someone, let's say, needs their car fixed, they're gonna go somewhere and get their car fucking fixed. Whether it's a dealership or a independent mechanic or a mobile mechanic or their buddy that knows how to do it, they're gonna toss him a few bucks even for their buddy and go, "Dude, please help me out." You know, it's just absurd. And at the end of the day, basic arithmetic is all you really need to run a business. So like a farmer can go, "Well, it costs this much money and I've made this much money this year." In actually bringing back to mechanics, I've known farmers that will be like, "Hey, I don't have the money right now. It isn't harvest time. Can you please fix my tractor? And when I have the money after harvest, I'll give it to you. We can sign a contract, or you can do it by honesty." And honesty's always the best way to go, but sometimes they don't. And you need to sign the contract. But whatever, I get it. And blue collar people are generally nicer people. Like, yeah, they're assholes. Don't get me spend too long taking a shit. "Oh, it must be nice to have banker hours. Oh, you got them union breaks, do you, boy?" But but they're good people. They're rough around the edges, but at the end of the day, they're good people. My master mechanic, one of my two master mechanics, he would give you the shirt off of his back if it was raining out and yours was soaked. Like, just a good dude. And then you go up to like some dumbass who sits behind the desk and you're like, hey, can you help me out? And they're like, numbers say no. Get fucked.
And I think the permitting and all the regulations has really stunted the growth of these kind of jobs. This morning,
Crazy. And the worst thing is the working class makes the least amount of money. I get it. CEOs and people that create these multi-billion-dollar industries, they take a huge risk. I get it. You are taking the biggest risk of either you make it or you don't. You know, like Elon is a great example of someone who did make it. They had a dream. They started a company. They took all the risk. But they're done taking risks. So they've made so much money. He's the first whatever quadrillionaire. Just the other day I saw something about that. But he's done. He's made it. Like, you're done. You've made it. What else do you need? How much more do you need? Fucking save some for the rest of us, dude. Like, and that brings me to like the middle class and the lower class, the working class, basically. If you're not in the 1%, you're the working class. You work. Your job isn't to fucking sit there and look pretty. But like the middle class, this is Investopedia.com. I don't know how accurate they are, but their numbers matched the AI numbers, which matched the numbers from a .org website I visited. And usually .orgs are pretty trustworthy with their sources because they kind of have to be, so I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. But the median household was 83,000. The middle class earned between 55,000 and 167,000. That is not middle class. At least to me, that's upper class. And this, like I said, my political opinion, I don't make enough money for it to count. And this is what I'm talking about. Excuse me. I do not make this. I don't make anywhere near this. I make like 44,000. And I work my ass off to make that much money. If I made 167,000, I would feel like the richest person on earth. Like, that's an absurd amount of money for me, and that's middle class? Brother, no. Like, I could see 55 as middle class. Like, for me, low class is below 30. Middle is 30 to 60, and above 60 to me is upper class. Like, I think that's a large amount of money that you can buy a home and live on. Like the classic American dream. I think you can get that with 60,000 if you're super careful. 100,000 would be absolutely like the sweet spot of what you need. So like, dude, if I made 100,000 a year, I would just be fucking tickled pink. And that's absurd. That I think a quote unquote middle class range as a skilled laborer is like the peak of monetary gain and luxury. Like, oh my god. And back in the day, you know, when I was raised in a single parent household, my mom was the one who raised me. She made $60,000 a year, and I thought we were rich as hell. We lived in a nice house. We never struggled for food. We never struggled to pay our bills. When my sister turned 16, mom bought her first car. Well, soon after that, we moved, and my mom only made like $35,000 a year after we moved. And we struggled to get my first car. My sister's first car was a $16,000 car, and she bought it outright for her. Outright. $16,000 check. Here you go. That was it. Bought the car outright. We had to finance a $2,000 car for me. So I understand living the po life. You hungry, eat, sleep. Um, yeah, that's just fucking absurd. I would be tickled pink if I made $83,000 a year. Like, holy shit! And I've got degrees. I've got a skill being a mechanic. I've got a blue collar skill that helps people keep the world running. And I don't make that much, so it's like, what the fuck, dude? Where's all this money going? And I know it's just me complaining about being poor at this point, but I'm trying. I own my own house now, or I'm a first time homeowner. I'm working my ass off. I'm putting in 70 hours a week of work and getting those nice overtime checks to make it work, to take care of my blind mother because she took care of me as a baby. And office workers, they don't care about that shit. Blue collar workers, they're like, dude, you are a great individual. Keep at it. If you need help, let us know. Keep at it. Dude, what a fucking, like, 8 consecutive left turns from a history problem. But yeah, blue collar workers, they make the world go round. They're the most important class. And eventually, if the rich assholes keep fucking them over, they're gonna either fuck the rich assholes over in the paycheck, or they're gonna fuck them over violently. I hope that violence is never the answer, but historically, it is always the answer that leads to peaceful negotiations. I suppose that's it. Peace out. Thanks for listening to my rant.